G'day chunky chili dudes and dudettes, and guess what? It's sauce making time. Come check it out right after this. Well, g'day chunky chili dudes and dudettes, the time is here. It has been 7 months in the making, and this episode feels like it's been forever coming, which is an exciting time for us in the House of Chunk because so much has been happening over the last few months. We'll do a quick montage of how it all came to be, and then what do I have in front of me? Let's find out.
To the sweet times, the hot nights, everything is gonna be alright in the summertime, baby, in the summertime. And even if I have to wait till next year, I don't care. All I know is I'll meet you there in the summertime, baby, in the summertime. That is where I'll be.
Well, chunky chili dudes and dudettes, as you've seen, we've had chili growing and we've had chili going. It's been absolutely amazing to get to this point, but we're not there yet. The next step is now underway, and it is time for us to finally take those that we have harvested and start putting them into a fermentation. That's right. We're going to ferment these chilies in a brine that's going to give us a bit more longevity on these chilies. So what does fermentation do? It breaks down some of the bad bacteria and keeps the good stuff around, so that way it stays shelf stable for a lot longer. When we put our vinegar in there as well with those hot sauces, we're able to make a hot sauce that's going to last a lot longer than just a couple of days as to what it should be, which is more towards a year and even longer than that. So what's been happening? Now, as you saw in the last little video there, we did miss out on a couple other things that I wanted to show you. We did have a video set with this one here that I'd already pre-done about 2 weeks ago for the fermentation process, but unfortunately there was no audio, which means you'd be listening to a mute. And if you were deaf, well, it'd be the video for you, but unfortunately it is not working for us, so we had to reset and make sure all the audio worked. I've got the old trusty microphone here and it's green, which means we are recording our audio today. So what is happening now? Well, it's time to make that sauce. So we're going to be starting off with our Kilner fermentation set. Now this Kilner set has been fantastic. The first one we did was absolutely astounding. We were very, very surprised as to how it worked. So with the Kilner fermentation set, it comes with just one jar and one weight, but you can get yourself a 2-pack, which is just as cool. Now, I've already gone into the lengths of sterilizing and taking out all of the bad stuff inside the jar. So the jar is very much ready to go. Basically, what you want to do is you want to hot boil water, sterilize that jar. Any bacteria that's inside it needs to go. There can't be any bacteria inside it. We want a clean, sterile agent when we are working with our chilies. As you can see, I've foiled the table because I want that to continue. I want the sterilization to be absolutely 110% spot on. The next thing I have to warn you about is with these chilies here, I must warn you, please, please, please wear gloves. I have a set of gloves here. I have lots of gloves here just in case. The last thing that we've been finding over the last few weeks with these chilies is that as soon as you touch them, the lactobacillus is insane in these things, which means the more lactobacillus, the more your skin can potentially react to even just the slightest bit of chili oil touching your skin. These things are insane. Carolina Reapers are not to be messed with, which is why we're taking things very seriously here. So that being said, we've got some chilies. What are we doing with them? So as you can see in this wonderful bag here, these are all my pre-done Carolina Reapers that we froze quite a little bit of time ago, because obviously we didn't want them to go to waste and we want to use them. So we're going to cut them up and add them with our current Carolina Reapers. Now, the reason why I want to add them with is because lactobacillus drops off when it's frozen. So the lactobacillus inside a chili actually dies when you freeze a chili, which means the only thing that's really working well for this chili right now is a small hint of lactobacillus and the flavor of the chili itself. So what we're going to be doing is taking the current Carolina Reapers that we've just finished harvesting today, and we're going to be putting them together to ferment as well into the salt brine. So with that salt brine, we're going to be making a portion of 1 to 250 mils. So that's every 250 mils, we're going to be adding a tablespoon of salt. So that way that gives us the perfect brine to mix through. I've already got my water ready to go. I've got my table salt here ready to go. We've got the chilies here. So what's next to do? Let's start making this sauce. So we're going to get in, but firstly, I want to take you over. I want to show you a couple of cool things. We just found out in the House of Chunk the other day that we have been growing some mystery chilies. Now, if you remember a while back, we potted a whole heap of chilies that we thought we'd never know what they would end up being, and we would end up thinking of them as the mystery pods because we didn't know what we were getting. Well, we found out what they were. Yellow lantern butcherlokias, and these things are nuts. I'll take it over to the camera so you guys can see, because I want to show you both of these chilies because this is just insane. But you've got yourself here the yellow lantern butcherlokias, which they're just huge in my hand. Like, you can just see them right here. That's just nuts. And then we take it over to the creme de la creme, the Carolina Reaper. Now this thing just looks insane, and these things have been growing exponentially. I want to say that these things have been growing chaotically is definitely the right word. We still haven't even touched the second Carolina Reaper tree that we've got. This is just the first one, plus our yellow lantern butcherlokias, which we're not going to touch today. We're going to save them for another ferment, but I definitely want to do something with them because I think we're going to cook a small hot sauce. We've also got the Tabascos growing, which I'll show you at the end of this, but this is already going to be a very big video. We're looking at 20 minutes long and we haven't even started. So let's get cracking. What's the first step? Sanitizing your chilies. So I've already gone ahead and I've washed my chilies. So they are ready to go. All I have to do is just pit them and get them ready. So we want to make sure when it comes to the fermentation process of these things, by the way, I have to keep that one because that's a really good one. I'm going to use that one for seeds. And this little bugger here is a little random one that's, well, he's two chilies on one stem. Almost don't want to get rid of him. But when it comes to fermentation process, you really want to minimize how much gap you have between the top and the bottom of your brine, which, as you can see in this jar here, there's a little bit of a gap between the two, and obviously the weight is holding down the rest of the Carolina Reapers. Now, we are struggling a little bit. Some of them are sneaking to the top and getting through. That's okay. We just have to keep in mind that there might be a little bit of bacteria buildup on the top. We just have to get rid of that. And the way you do that is just checking every now and then, making sure it smells good. You'll know it'll be a fruity smell, and it won't be like an unpleasant smell, but there'll be this very strong fruity smell to it. I just want to show you quickly though, these are the fresh Carolina Reapers that we harvested the other day. Just look at all of those buggers. Look how nice that looks. I bet you that color's just going to pop on that screen. They are insane. Almost brings a tear to my eye. Not in the hot sauce kind of way that, you know, this was a pipe dream my dad and I had many, many years ago about growing Carolina Reapers and playing the what if story and being able to go from seed to almost sauce. We're nearly there. But seed to sourcing Carolina Reapers, I mean, we've been taste testing these things. They've been kicking me in the butt. Just going through them all and just making sure we feel them. Now, I can already see chili oil on my fingers already. So that's why you want to wear gloves, because these things aren't to be messed with. These are nuts. We've been touching them around the house and just like putting them in the bags and things, handling them. You ought to see in the video, I was handling them with my bare hands, just cutting them. And then I did get a red heat rash up the side of my arm from the lactobacillus that was oozing out of these things. Now, one thing I want to talk to you guys about when it comes to Carolina Reapers and fermenting them is you're going to see an excess amount of lactobacillus building up at the bottom of your jar. That's totally fine. Keep in mind, Carolina Reapers are around about 2 million Scoville units. And that lactobacillus is something that's seriously in control of that chili. So when it's kind of excessed out, it just means that it's sweating. And when we cut these things open, I'll cut one open for you in a second and I'll show you, it literally will just sweat this lactobacillus out because it is just dripping in it. The lactobacillus is it's kind of like the oil inside the chili that holds that heat. So when I keep talking about this stuff, you're probably thinking he's just making a word up, but no, it's a legitimate thing that is in the chilies, the lactobacillus. It's in a lot of things actually, not just chilies, but it just gives you that heat behind the flavor. The receptors in your brain going, oh my God, this is insane, I can't handle this. That's the lactobacillus. And that's what you want. When that dies off, obviously, you don't get much heat. So when we freeze chilies, if you freeze them for way too long, the lactobacillus is well and truly gone, and you're just keeping the chilies for flavor or a base for a hot sauce. But then if you combine them with the fresh chilies, then you're not going to have too much to worry about, because the lactobacillus inside this will soak back into the dead ones and you won't have too much excess. But Like I said, at the bottom of your jar, once you've finished doing your brine, if you see like a white milky substance that is sitting at the bottom of the brine, it's nothing to be stressed about. It's just the excess lactobacillus building up. All right, we're nearly at the end of pitting these reapers, and it's almost sad. Like I like staring at them. I don't want to see them go, but I know what they're about to go in for. And we're about to have one hell of a time here in the House of Chunk. This is beyond crazy to think that these are all Carolina Reapers from just one tree. We still have a second tree growing at the moment. And it's doing all right. It just needed a little bit of love. It was starting to just whine off because the soil was losing nutrients after having excess amount of rain, just flushing all the nutrients out. And while there was just no way, because it was a drainage system, no way for it to store the nutrients in, I had to power feed it, which we'll go through in another video about how to retain your chilies and make sure you get life back into them so they don't dissipate. All right, so we've got our fresh chilies, we've got our frozen chilies, and they're slowly defrosting. I will use these last. I want to get these ones into the jar first, and then we can determine how much we need left from those chilies to go in. Now, the best way to do this when it comes to making the hot sauce is just cutting the reapers in half. Now, in goes the first one. I'm going to grab a decent one for you, so I'm going to cut it down the middle, and then I'm going to take it over, and you guys can just see. I'm going to keep it in place, and when we open that, you're going to see just how gorgeous that looks. But you can also see there that yellow stuff that's running through there. That's that chili oil. That's that lactobacillus. That stuff that if I just squeeze that, you can see that starting to ooze. It just sweats. And I can already smell it, which is just how nuts it is. So all you want to do is you literally just want to cut these guys in half. Please don't poke your fingers. Kids, don't try this at home. Kids definitely don't try this at home. The stuff is not to be messed with. It's a little bit of a fluffy one there. We won't use him. You just want to try and minimize how much bacteria is in this. And when we cut them open, we're doing two things. We're obviously inspecting them to make sure they're all good, but we're also getting a chance for that brine to get into everything, because that's what you want. You want that brine to just cover the entire chili, and then that helps that fermentation process just happen. Now this smell, I wish I could tell you what the smell was like. It's gorgeous, but it's also very hot. I can smell it and it's weeping. I also just need to be very careful, because if I poke my finger and I cut a hole in the glove, we are up a creek without a paddle when it comes to touching things. That's all right. That's just a dud seed. That one's okay. But yeah, so we're just trying to add that stuff in there. So what I'll do now, I'll stop talking. We'll fast forward this bit to the end, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we are obviously getting down to the part where it's getting pretty packed inside the jar, and that's not a bad thing, because what we want to do is we want to, again, minimize how much surface area we have with these chilies, because the less we have, the better the fermentation process is going to work. So now we've finished cutting the chilies. Now obviously there's a lot of chilies in there, and we want to pack that down. So giving them a quick pat down, just packing them in a little bit, it's not going to hurt them. It's definitely something I would recommend doing, because you're going to put the weight in. The weight's going to hold them under the water, and the water's going to go from there. I'm going to quickly change gloves, because here comes the fun part of working with the salt. And to do that, I need to have clean hands, because I've got to crack open the salt first and add it to our water. So I've got 550. If I just add a little bit of water out of that one, I've got 2 cups of water there. I'm just going to quickly pour that out so I can get the correct measurements. Obviously this isn't very professional to what I'm doing, but surprisingly I got bang on 500. So that means I need 2 tablespoons of salt. I'm going to mix that in. All right. Woo. 1 tablespoon. Making lots of mess with the salt, but that's okay. That's okay. All right, so that's a perfect amount of salt there with that brine. And that's what's going to help the fermentation process, because you're going to see a video later on where this thing's going to be bubbling. That is what the brine is doing, is killing all the bad bacteria, moving the oxygen out, forcing it up through the bubbler of the lid, and that way it's fermenting it, so it's keeping that good bacteria in there to keep it going. All right, so that is perfectly ready to go. So I didn't have to worry about using any of the frozen chilies, so we'll keep these for another one when I do the mash, because we're going to be doing a big pepper mash, which is going to be insane. I'm not talking about the dog behind me and her nickname being Mash, is talking about this one. So with your brine, you just want to add it all in until you fill it all up and cover everything. The brine's looking really good. All right, almost the right amount of brine. I'll see if this weight's going to help push it down. All right. I'm going to get a little bit more water. We'll be back. So we got the brine back. So just going to add a little bit more salt. All right, now I'm always going to get close quarters with these chilies, so protection first. That one's wet. I don't want to know if it's water or chili sauce. We're not going to make those assumptions. So it's going to take the weight out for a sec. Hit it with a bit more brine water. There we go. Now that's sitting nicely, we can put the weight just under like that. And that is perfect. Now what we do now is, whoop, I see what it's doing there, and I'm not falling for that trap. I'm going to put the glove on. Come on, in you get. Trying so hard not to touch my skin. And there you have it. So that is ready to go. Now that's going to bubble and burp and do everything it's supposed to do. And you can already see it starting to do its trick, but I'll bring it over for you and show you. You can already see that it's starting to, see how it's bubbling? That's already starting the fermentation process. And that'll bubble and do its thing. And on the top here on that lid, it'll just burp all that excess gas out, which is good. So now we have ourselves one set of Carolina Reapers fully ready to go for fermentation. And in a couple of weeks' time, it's going to look like this. I've always wanted to do this. This is the part where it's like, oh, you know, you've done it, and then here's what it looks like a few weeks later. Here's what I prepared a little earlier, which looks fantastic. But as you can see, the fermentation is growing. It's a little bit cloudy. It's not too crazy. There's no build-up on the top, which is nice. I can even open the lid for you and show you. There's nothing on there underneath. Up. Very, very fruity smell, which is nice, and it's doing its job. So that's exactly what we want. So that's basically the after. This is the before. We have all of it done, ready to go. And now we'll come back in a few weeks' time. Now, being that this is the 7th of December and time of filming of this one, we probably won't be touching that jar until about the 7th of January. So This jar we'll see in the new year for some new sauce. This one here we fermented 2 weeks ago and is ready for almost ready for its month growing. Now, once that's done, it'll be good. I can wash that jar, get it sterilized and ready to go, because right behind it is that Tabasco sauce. And we're gonna ferment those ones for probably 6 months. I really want a good 6-month grow on a fermentation with these Tabascos. And there's so many Tabasco chilies here, I'm so excited. So we're gonna get into that later on, but that's everything for now. I'm hoping you enjoyed this video. This is a really cool video that I was excited about. I did try to do it before with this one, but we lost our audio. So now you get to see it a full flight with a full bag of chilies, which is fantastic. So we have so many more left. Plus, we also have our Yellow Lantern Butcher Lokis, but also too, you saw me save one Carolina Reaper. And that is for season 2026, when we grow from seed to sauce again with what looks like the perfect Reaper. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna let you guys go and have a wonderful night. Enjoy your weekend. If you don't see me beforehand, have a safe and Merry Christmas. Have a wonderful New Year. And we'll see you in the House of Chunk in 2026 when things get nothing but hotter. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.